It has just been over 7 years after being welcomed to lead a university in the judicial heartland of South Africa. Professor Francis William Petersen, the Vice-Chancellor of the University of the Free State, is moving to the country's administrative capital as the new Vice-Chancellor and Principal of the University of Pretoria. That is TICIS, one of Africa's leading research institutions. Prof. Petersen and the University of the Free State team will be visiting alumni and donors here in the land of the brave, and he's here to tell us more about the purpose of the visit as well as the transition from the city of roses to the city of jacarandas. Good morning, Prof, and welcome to Good Morning NAMIBIA.
Good morning, Denver, and good morning to all your listeners.
And the viewers.
And the viewers,
yes.
Absolutely.
How are you doing on this gift of a Tuesday, Prof?
No, fantastic. And it's always be good to be back in Namibia. Fantastic.
What brings you back to the land of the brave, Prof?
You know, every year we, as the University of the Free State, visit Namibia to meet our alumni. We've got a lot of alumni within Namibia, as well as our donors. And also, we also try to meet the different schools. This time around, however, we're not going to meet the schools. We're going to focus primarily on the alumni and our donors.
Very well. Now, Prof, before we get into the particulars of the transition and talk more about the extent of the engagement with both donors and alumni, for those not familiar with Professor Petersen, could you just tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay. So I'm currently the Vice-Chancellor of the University of the Free State, as you have indicated. And on the 1st of October, I'll start at University of Pretoria as their Vice-Chancellor. So I spent some time in academia, started off in academia as a professor in chemical engineering, and then spent some time at in Johannesburg in the Science Council sector. And then from there, I went to a multinational mining company, Anglo-American, joined their executive team responsible for strategy. And then after that stint, I went to the University of Cape Town, first as Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment, and then after that, Deputy Vice-Chancellor. And then from there, I went to the University of the Free State.
Very well. And now you're moving on to TICIS.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So from IQs to COPSIS to TICIS, with a lot of experience in between that serves you well, certainly. Talk to us about why you accepted this role at the University of Pretoria and what it is that you want to do while in that seat.
Yeah. So the University of Pretoria, we can probably call it a top-tier university, research intensive. And I think it's one of those strong universities that are playing a fundamental role to adding to the economy of South Africa, but also producing appropriate graduates, not only to South Africa, but also to the continent and to the globe. And I think the challenge coming into the University of Pretoria would be there's probably about 3 or 4 foci that I'm going to try to tackle. The one is to see to what extent we can improve the global positioning of the University of Pretoria. They're well known internationally, but I think there's still more that one could do. Secondly, they are a strong university, but also a university that do a lot of transdisciplinary research. So different disciplines that engaging with one another. And they have got a lot of these, probably about 4 or 5 or 6 of these transdisciplinary platforms. One of them is Future Africa, that do a lot of work to develop the African continent through science and new knowledge. So that is one of the platforms that I want to build out. The third one is, I often say that a university is its people. And if you don't look after the people, that is the staff and the students, you're not going to have a great university. So one of the things that I would be doing is to see to what extent we can do more work to make University of Pretoria a caring, a welcoming, an employer of choice type of university. And then I think finally, to make sure that the University of Pretoria is a university that also engages with different sectors of the economy. The private sector, the industry, the commerce, the government, and try to not only improve on the transdisciplinarity, but also improve on those relationships that is important to build a strong country in the continent and a globe.
Thank you so much for that, Prof. Now, part of its people include alumni and donors, and as far as the University of Free State is concerned, you are here to engage those constituencies. Could you flesh out the purpose of the engagement for us, please?
Yeah. So, you know, alumni is probably one of those important, I would probably say one of the most important stakeholders of a university. And for the University of the Free State, our alumni is very close to us. So coming into Namibia is not to establish necessarily new relationships with our alumni, because we work on that constantly, but to refresh that, to strengthen that. So that will be a part of the engagement with the alumni. The donors as well is to indicate that, you know, where the university is, where the university is going, and also to see whether we could not only sort of refresh or stabilize the existing relationship with donors, but also try to build new ones. And then very importantly, as you've indicated, I will be moving to the University of Pretoria, and I also want to convey the message that the University of the Free State is at a good place. It's a stable university, a good foundation, and I would like them to continue their support and their interest to the University of the Free State. And then the other reason why we also here, Denver, is that we attending a conference, the RU Forum conference, that you probably have heard about. I think one of your earlier speakers and visitors this morning on the platform here was from the RU Forum. And we've got a fairly large delegation for the University of the Free State attending that, working on different programs, focusing on collaboration and also co-creation. And that's also one of the key reasons why we're here.
Very well. Here at home, our tertiary institutions are rethinking particularly their funding models. You know, financing tertiary institutions of higher learning is no walk in the park, particularly during these global economic dire straits. How does that relate to challenges that you're experiencing as tertiary institutions in South Africa? And more importantly, how is it that you're coping with those challenges?
Yeah, so funding is always a challenge in higher education. It plays out probably in different levels. The one is student funding. So there's a lot of, as we increase access into universities in South Africa, there was a lot of funding challenges that came with it. So we do have a model in South Africa called the NSFAS, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, that we are reimagining at the moment. The last couple of years there was a lot of challenges associated with NSFAS, but they contribute probably about 75% to all student funding in South Africa.
That's significant.
And that is significant. What we're trying to do with NSFAS now is to broaden the base of funding. So it's not only government that funds the scheme, but we also try to see whether we can get private sector and other financial institutions to come to the table to fund that. So student funding is particular a challenge. The second one is what I would call the operational funding of the university. In South Africa, we use the term subsidy and block grant, where the government contribute a certain proportion of that funding to the university. That has been eroded over the last couple of years, which means that the funding that you get is not inflationary linked. And that creates a problem. So therefore your engagement with donors, with private sector, industry and commerce, with foundations is immensely critical. But they obviously want to know, why should we invest? Is university at a good space? What are the plans? Do you have stable leadership? All of those factors are important. And that is what we try to manage to be able to ensure that your institution remains financially sustainable. And with respect to the University of the Free State, that's a very positive message that we can convey, that we're financially sustainable, but we need to continue to engage with the different sectors to ensure that our long-term planning is aligned to this financial sustainability.
Any final thoughts this morning, Prof, before we let you go?
No, I just wanted to say it's always good to be back to Namibia. We have fantastic collaboration with some of your higher education institutions, specifically University of Namibia. We are engaging on veterinary science and other areas, and specifically as you embark on your new, as a government, your new energy strategy and plans, the University of the Free State, and hopefully also the University of Pretoria later on, would like to continue to collaborate to see to what extent we can work to solve those challenges, which is not only important for Namibia, but very important for the region.
Speaking of vet science, we do know that Onderste Poort at the University of Pretoria plays a significant role to that discipline on the continent. So I'm sure there would also be collaboration opportunities between techies in that regard in the University of Namibia.
Absolutely, Dylan. Absolutely.
Prof, thank you so much for your time. Good luck with your last month and a half at the University of Free State in Bloemfontein, the City of Roses. And good luck also with the transition to the University of Pretoria. And may you continue to excel.
Thank you.
There you have it, Professor Francis William Petersen. He is the Vice-Chancellor at the University of the Free State at the moment. From the 1st of October, he will be the Vice-Chancellor at the University of Pretoria. He and the team of the University of the Free State, inter alia, are in the country to engage donors and alumni. And we are looking forward to more continued collaboration between tertiary institutions in South Africa, both the University of the Free State and the University of Pretoria, and our local tertiary institutions.